Coming up tonight, a major push to secure Crown land for Bahamians. This as the office of the Prime Minister is denying claims that government is conducting a land grab. But what about perhaps one of the biggest stories in land dispute? A ruling by the highest court of the land last year upholding the status of hundreds of acres of land reported to belong to a local developer. The families who say it's theirs now have the court backing them. Tonight, we dig deeper into the issue of land. Why is the government stalling on the land registry? Who is really behind the ownership of land in the country? A candid discussion tonight with my special guest. Beyond the Headline starts now. Disturbing news coming into our newsroom tonight. We can confirm that a man is in custody at this hour for allegedly sexually assaulting his stepdaughter. Good evening, I'm Clint Watson. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. Janelle Noel Ferguson joins me live tonight with this breaking story. And of course, as we've been saying earlier, it is a very graphic story, one we want to address. And of course, Janelle Noel Ferguson, you can tell us a little bit about that. To first set this story, it's important for people to understand that this is one that's coming out of Grand Bahama, dealing with an assault of an 8-year-old. Janae, what can you tell us?
Clint, this story is very disturbing, and that's an understatement to say the least. What we can tell you from the information we know now is that a Freeport man is behind bars today after he was reportedly caught in the act of sexually assaulting his 8-year-old stepdaughter last night. Now, the girl's mother reportedly awoke around 11 p.m. and she did not find her husband in the bed, and so she went to look for him, and that's when she reported that she allegedly caught him on top of the 8-year-old girl engaged in some sexual activity. Now, police were called to the home in an area that we won't disclose after the mother contacted the police control room to report it. Now, a team of uniformed and plainclothes officers went to the home to investigate, and the woman, we understand, reportedly told police that she suspected that her husband was having sexual intercourse with her 8-year-old daughter after she allegedly caught her husband jumping off of her daughter, and they both were reportedly naked. Now, the woman said she screamed and begged her, and her husband, she said, begged her for forgiveness. Now, according to reports, we understand the young 8-year-old victim told police that it was not the first time that she had been sexually assaulted by her stepfather, and she said that this was happening from she was 5 years old. She reported to police that her stepdaddy would come to the room at night and have intercourse with her, including anal sex. Now, the last time, right before her mother came in the room last night, Clint, the victim, we understand, and the alleged perpetrator were taken to hospital to be examined. The man has been charged with unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor. Now, we understand he's expected to be formally arraigned in court sometime this week. Now, get this, Clint, the alleged rapist was born in 1948, which means that he is 70 years old.
Janae, I know before we let you go, when I saw this story and I heard this story came to us, it's mind-boggling to say the least, because to see that we have people who are obviously very ill to do something like this to this young child, and of course we've been trying to keep this identity, but not, the sad thing I hate about this is our laws in our country, because you want to protect the child, obviously, we can't give more information. We can't even show the perpetrator because you want to protect the victim. And a lot of people feel as if this person just be brought out to public shame and dealt with, but our laws allow for protection of the family.
Of course, Clint, at the end of the day, the protection of children is paramount. Obviously, they do not want to reveal that information, who the child is, which area she lives in, and obviously for long-term effects. Obviously, this matter, if it is taken to court, will have to be tried. And at the end of the day, they want the victim, who is the child, allegedly, to be protected.
Are we surprised, Janae, that there's not more agencies speaking out on all of these crimes that are being committed against children? We've been focusing all last week on all of these alleged abductions, and then, of course, the alleged sexual assault or alleged assault of another minor, and then now we're here seeing this alleged rape of an 8-year-old. starting from 5-year-old by a relative. And are we surprised? Are we shocked that we're not hearing agencies? I know we said we want to hear from government, but what about all of these child protection agencies, all of these private sector groups? Why aren't they speaking out?
Clint, obviously, when matters like this happen, we always see the reaction to. We
Yeah.
never see entities just being in media, and history would show us that we never see what persons are doing beforehand. We hear about Child Protection Month, and we see the rollout of programs for a month.
What's the
and
use of a
then
month?
the,
Exactly.
the campaign dies down. We don't really hear about a year-round thrust going forward. But we did speak with the Social Services Director last week, and she informed us that, with all of these recent cases coming about, they do have plans in place to ensure that their campaign is not only for 1 month but year-round.
And again, of course, we have to send caution out to mothers and women. Particularly, we understand this was a stepchild, particularly to women who go in relationships and they have children. You have to think about your child. We're not putting blame on anybody, but you have to think about what's happening with your child, particularly if you bring a husband or somebody who's not their father into the home. You have to be careful and look for warning signs, eh?
Well, Clint, it's not just the mothers, but all parents. If we've seen these
Yeah.
recent crimes against children, all parents should be taking due care and attention about their child or children's well-being.
All right. Thank you so much, Janea Ferguson, reporting for us tonight. Thanks a lot, Janea. We're going to take a break, and when we come back tonight, we're going to be talking about another serious issue. Many families are grappling and upset about it in this country. That's land ownership. Land that they say belongs to them and their generation and their families, yet people say they have titles to it and they can't get it, and there's a long court battle going on. And then how do you prove it's yours? How do you ensure that somebody else is not taking your land for their wealth? We're going to talk about that land issue tonight. My guest is the Golden Isles Member of Parliament. He's a native of Eleuthera. We're going to talk about a situation down there in Eleuthera. Vaughn Miller is here. We're going to talk to him right after the break. Stay close. You're watching Beyond the Headlines. We're back after this.
Looking for quiet, relaxation, elegance, and luxurious but yet affordable pampering? Come and see us at Baja Retreat Spa, East Bay Street next to Luciano's. How about a manicure, pedicure, facial, eyebrow threading, and body sugaring? You can purchase an instant gift certificate online at www.bajaretreat.com or call us at 323-6711.
You ask how long.
Bus stop. We waiting on, boy?
Oh, I waiting on Miami to draw.
Why you waiting on that, boy? Listen, you go play quick draw from 8 a.m. and they have 32 draws a day, Papa. What you play anyway?
Come on, you being serious? And I waiting on 320 to draw.
320?
Yeah.
But I've been dropping quick draw long time. You was be slugging. Man, you could have then win and you receiving the same payouts anyway.
Hold on. Bus stop. Okay, respect.
Quick Draw. 32 draws a day. Why wait? Speed up your winnings today.
Welcome back tonight. My guest is Member of Parliament for Golden Isles and a native of Eleuthera, Vaughn Miller. We're talking about land tonight and, of course, what people say that belongs to them, whether people say they have right and ownerships to it. It's an issue the Prime Minister also addressed this past weekend, which brought this topic back into public domain and into everyone's attention. We do have a report with that tonight with our Tia Thompson. We're going to come out and talk about this. But first, take a look at this report with Tia Thompson.
The Office of the Prime Minister is denying claims tonight that the government is conducting a land grab. The Office of the Prime Minister advised, however, that these reports are false, and the government, however, is developing a modern land registry to improve access to Crown land in the Bahamas. While in Andros and Exuma over the weekend, Dr. Minnis said that many Bahamians have been leasing land for years, built homes on the land, was promised they would obtain the land, but there was never any outcome. He told residents of Andros and Eleuthera that the government is prepared to give free title on land so that Bahamians are able to borrow money for home expansion. He added that homes in the subdivisions will be sold to Bahamians with all the amenities at rock-bottom prices. Minnis said that although land auditing is taking longer than he expected, They are still in the process of implementing it.
For those individuals who have been leasing Crown land, who have built on Crown land, who have their homes or businesses on Crown land, let me say categorically tonight, over the next 2 weeks, we will be putting all plans and programs together so that after that, we would move forward to regularize your land so that you would be given grant and free title to those lands. All subdivisions created by government going forward, you'll be able to build duty-free. We will not charge. Why the land order is being done was because a lot of land had been given to individuals, and you find that a particular land had been promised to 3 or 4 individuals.
Progressive Liberal Party Chairman Fred Mitchell responded to the Prime Minister, noting that the government owns approximately 2 million acres of Crown land, and although land is important for development, he warns that Prime Minister Minnis should be careful how he goes about using the power of public acquisition to take property away from individuals. Mitchell told Eyewitness News that there is still a large amount of matters outstanding regarding property.
So-called generational property. There is a mechanism right now which is available for anybody who wants to claim absolute title to generational property, and that's going through the Partition Act. When we were in office, there was about $500 million outstanding to people whose land had been publicly acquired by the government and had not been paid, and it never shows up on the book. Clearly, the Progressive Liberal Party would want to have people to have home ownership. No question about that. As a matter of fact, they can just look at what I did in Fox Hill. If the government would get its bureaucracy in order, the Crown land applications can be handled expeditiously. The problem is that people see this as a plum that they're offering.
Reporting for Beyond the Headlines, I'm Tia Thompson.
Thanks a lot, Tia. Please welcome my guest, the Member of Parliament for Golden Isles and a native of Eleuthera, Pastor Vaughn Miller. Welcome, sir. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Obviously, this issue with land, I think, is one of the biggest issues in our country. I don't know if any administration is serious about bringing land reform. We've talked about land registry, but I wonder if any administration is serious about bringing land registry, because a land registry will then identify who owns land in this country and who doesn't own land. And I beg to believe that there are a lot of people who have ownership of land in this country that perhaps don't have title and deeds for it that have been cleared, or that belongs to other generational families and generational properties that they are claiming. And it's a very serious issue when we talk about Crown land and ensuring people are given titles for Crown land, that we ensure that indeed this land that we are giving to people is indeed owned by the government and doesn't belong to families and generations.
Mm-hmm. There's a tremendous challenge with land in our country. Certainly a land registry would be ideal, and as you said, it's the proper thing to do.
It's the proper thing to do.
Whether we have the will to do it, time will tell.
I believe it's talk.
I believe that, I know in terms of the member for Yamacraw, Ellsworth Johnson, he talks about this land issue almost every time he rises to his feet in the Parliament. So I believe it's serious, and until something happens otherwise, they'll have to prove me wrong.
But I think he can't do it on his own.
Well,
he's a state minister, a junior man in the cabinet, and I believe that there are more senior men in that cabinet that he will have to go through to see that happen, and I don't think they're willing to go through with it because of what this will represent. It means that we can now see how much land many of them in the cabinet and their families own, and I don't think they want to disclose that. So I believe he's talking because he probably may have good intention, but he's a junior man. He can't leave that charge by himself.
The member for Kalani, our Prime Minister, who we saw on camera a while ago speaking in Talbot Eleuthera.
Yes.
2 or 3 weeks ago, he made similar comments in the Parliament. And I responded by saying, I'm happy to hear that in terms of the regularization of land. And specifically, I was thinking to the land in South Eleuthera.
Talk about that, because that's critical. You're holding a very important piece of document today, and this goes to our conversation tonight. Talk about that.
As with this judgment, the Bannerman Town Millers and John Millers Eleuthera Association, the appellant, versus Eleuthera Properties Limited, the respondent, Bahamas. And this went to the Privy Council.
The highest court in our country.
Highest court recognized in our country. It was heard on the 17th, 18th, and 19th of July of last year. October 15th of last year, they made a ruling. And the ruling was that neither of those bodies had presented sufficient evidence to prove that they should acquire the title.
Who are these bodies? So people understand who we're talking about.
The Eleuthera Properties Limited, okay, and that's the developers of Cotton Bay, Jacks Bay, and who quieted the land supposedly in around 2010 for $1.
For $1.
For $1.
How many acres of land?
Thousands of acres.
Thousands of acres of land for $1.
For $1. But the Privy Council ruled that they did not present sufficient evidence to prove that it should be awarded them. It was not. Now, here's what happened. This started from in 95. There's something called the 95 Action, where there were a number of different persons participating, and among them, one Edmund Hall Sr., the adverse claimant, one of the adverse claimants. In 1998, Mr. Watson, there's a ruling of which ruled that he had proven that they ruled in his favor. However, he was never granted the certificate of title.
And these are natives of Eleuthera?
Yes, natives of South Eleuthera.
Families from Eleuthera.
From Wims's Bight. Now, there are other families connected to this. There are some families from as a matter of fact, when this started in 1995, I think it was the Tom Miller Corporation Limited. They were involved with it. There's Boston Wiley, Dora Wiley. They were involved with it. And other persons involved with this. But Edmund Hall Sr. emerged. Now, in 2010, there's the 2010 action that came about. And that ended up to the Court of Appeal, ended up to the Privy Council. However, Edmund Hall Sr., the late Edmund Hall Sr., his lawyer advised them that he didn't have to take it that far. It was already, they had already ruled in his favor, and they would not stand at the Privy Council. And his lawyer was correct. They did not stand, and so what happened? It has to go back to the 95 action and the 98 ruling.
We're going to take a break. But what's interesting is when we come back, who are these companies? We're going to tell you who these principals are because you know their names. You know their names. We're going to talk about that and talk about how this ruling says that you don't own these people property. It reverts to what it originally was. You're going to find out who these families are when we come right back after the break.
Your car takes you everywhere. To drop your kids to school, to get to work, late night food runs, and family emergencies. You expect it to start every time, but what happens when it doesn't?
I refuse to get a tow truck. I refuse. I need a battery. Now.
Don't worry, AID has got you covered, with helpful staff that make sure you get the assistance you need, providing a wide selection of Napa auto parts, such as batteries and battery chargers, and a variety of auto accessories like fuel pumps, brake pads, oil filters, wipers, adhesives, auto paint, hubcaps, and much more. AID also has on staff mechanics and a diagnostic center, making sure you have everything you need to get your car back on the road as safe and quick as possible. AID, all you really need and more.
Surrounding the most prestigious communities of Western New Providence, you will discover corporate luxury. Welcome to Viridian, the most exclusive commercial development in the Bahamas. Enjoy deluxe, contemporary, and open-concept office suites with world-class amenities placed in close proximity to high-net-worth clients. This is where corporate meets luxury. To visit our sales gallery, contact 457-0508 or 438-6800. Viridian, where corporate meets luxury.